Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang, and here are the news. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. addressed a select group of Chief Executive Officers or CEOs and top investors at the 10th Asia Summit hosted by the Milken Institute in Singapore from September 13 to 15, 2023. Anchored in the theme Bridging Complexity and Opportunity, the 10th Asia Summit celebrates a decade defined by greater access to capital, deeper digitalization, health innovation, and the rise of connected, purposeful living. At the same time, significant global events have created new challenges, necessitating answers from industry leaders, policymakers, and experts. It is noted that President Marcos is the first sitting Philippine president to address the Milken Institute's Asia Summit. Here is Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you for your kind invitation to join you at this 10th Annual Asian Summit with the Milken Institute. At the outset, allow me to apologize for being quite so late, as we have just come from Manila and mix-ups with luggage and such. So I did not think it would be appropriate for me to come in my shorts, so I thought I should wait for my suit. Thank you very much for your kind invitation, and it's an honor to stand before you here this afternoon as one of the speakers at the 10th Asia Summit organized by the Milken Institute. As a forum that attracts world leaders, CEOs, top executives, thought leaders, and influencers, we see this summit as an important platform for discussing and finding innovative solutions to the most critical economic, social, technological issues, even geopolitical issues that affect Asia-Pacific, Indo-Pacific, and regions beyond. This gathering of minds is a testament to our shared commitment to address the most pressing challenges of our time. And I am grateful for the opportunity to engage in meaningful discussions that can shape our shared future. I also wish to take this opportunity to share with you the developments happening in my country and why you should consider investing in the Philippines. As we navigate a world marked by uncertainty, the Philippines remains steadfast in its pursuit of economic growth, social progress, and sustainable development. Our nation's story is one of resilience, of a people who rise above challenges and seize opportunities to build a better tomorrow. In the face of global economic volatility, the Philippines has demonstrated remarkable resilience. We have sustained consistent GDP growth, bolstered by prudent fiscal management and monetary policy. Despite high inflation and global market instability, our economy grew by 7.6% in 2022, the fastest rate of growth recorded by our country since 1976, coincidentally in the time of my father. Economic expansion is expected to continue this year, with global institutions such as the World Bank and the IMF projecting the Philippines to grow around 6% in 2023. Our growth story is underpinned by a strong domestic demand and increasing fixed capital investment as a result of upbeat domestic activity and improved business confidence. We are a large market. We are comprised of 110 million consumers whose demand helps fuel our current and future growth. Moreover, the regulatory reforms that we have recently passed, which liberalized many sectors, including public services, retail, and renewable energy, amongst others, are expected to encourage private investment and bolster the growth of our economy over the medium to the long term. We have also recently launched our own sovereign wealth fund, the Maharlika Investment Fund. The fund is designed to consolidate investable funds from government and financial institutions to further drive economic development through strategic investments both domestically and overseas. Given the strong fundamentals of our economy, I invite you to explore the Philippines as a destination for investment. Moreover, the Philippines' strategic location within Asia, coupled with our membership in regional trade agreements, positions us as a gateway to countless possibilities. We are a member of ASEAN and a signatory of the RCEP, or Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. RCEP is considered as the world's largest free trade agreement, covering roughly 30% of the world's population and global GDP, and over a quarter of international trade in goods and services, and 31% of foreign direct investment inflows. In terms of areas for investment, our nation offers a myriad of opportunities across various sectors, from digital and renewable energy to manufacturing and tourism. We are a nation on the rise, ready to collaborate with partners who see the potential that we hold in the Philippines. Our journey towards a digital future is in full swing. The Philippines' tech ecosystem is thriving, marked by a dynamic startup culture and advancements in e-commerce, in fintech, in digital services, which have flourished during the pandemic. Based on the 2023 Global Digital Report by Meltwater and We Are Social, Filipinos are one of the highest users of the internet and of social media. There are 85.16 million internet users in the Philippines, which represents a high internet penetration rate of 73.1% of the total population. With a growing number of customers using the internet and social media platforms to discover and buy products and services, e-commerce has become one of the fastest growing trends in the Philippines. The growth of the country's digital economy bodes well for international companies who wish to tap into our increasingly digital economy. Another strength of the Philippines is our educated and English-speaking workforce that has propelled us onto the global stage, especially in the area of business processing and outsourcing. We are the #1 country of choice for the delivery of customer support and the healthcare services, and one of the top destinations for outsourcing overall, second only to India. Several data centers are already operating in the Philippines, including Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta, amongst others. Yours could be the next one. Meanwhile, to improve on our capacities as a manufacturing hub, we are continuously investing on vocational and technical enhancement and education to ensure that our people remain globally competitive. Our skilled and English-speaking workforce is also one of the reasons why many manufacturing companies have chosen to locate in the Philippines. We also recognize the pivotal role of infrastructure and what it plays in unlocking growth. Our commitment to connectivity is unwavering, with ambitious projects that enhance trade and investment opportunities through our Build Better, More infrastructure program. Our ports, transport networks, and energy facilities are poised to elevate business operations and facilitate trade with the world. We welcome foreign investors to take advantage of the opportunities presented in our infrastructure program. In the spirit of collaboration, our government actively engages in public-private partnerships. Our successful PPP projects demonstrate our commitment to provide services to our public while delivering goods and returns to our investors. We open our doors to international developers and construction companies who wish to take part in the infrastructure development of our country. As stewards of the environment, we are committed to sustained development in the fight against climate change. The Philippines is embracing renewable energy, welcoming 100% foreign ownership of renewable energy projects. To clarify that, the new law, the Public Service Act, allows now, which was not really allowed before, allows now fully 100% foreign ownership when it comes to renewable energy. Last year, our Department of Energy released a circular which modified the implementing rules and regulations of our country's Renewable Energy Act. The circular eliminates previous Filipino ownership requirements related to the exploration, development, and utilization of solar, wind, hydro, ocean, and tidal resources. We are also actively promoting investment in smart and sustainable agriculture, aligning ourselves with global goals to achieve food security and conserve our natural resources for future generations. By investing in our nation, you invest in a greener, more sustainable, and more equitable world. To those who are looking to invest in the Philippines, we offer incentives, tax breaks, and robust legal frameworks that safeguard the interests of foreign investors. Intellectual property rights are protected, ensuring that innovation flourishes within our borders. We also note that geopolitical stability and regional cooperation are cornerstones of our foreign policy. We are dedicated to peaceful relations and collaboration that foster a conducive investment and business climate. The Philippines has faced its share of challenges, as with any country, but we emerge from them stronger and more resolute. Our nation's resilience and ability to adapt are not just stories, they are lessons that we bring to the table, lessons that we share with partners who are invested in our shared future. So in conclusion, as we stand here discussing ways we can collaborate, I invite each one of you to consider the Philippines as a strategic partner in your journey. Our story is one of promise, of potential, of endless opportunities, and all waiting to be harnessed. Let us embark on this path together, united in our commitment to economic progress, social inclusion, sustainable development. The Philippines is open for business. We invite you to join us in shaping a brighter future for us all. Thank you, and may the summit continue to be a platform for the exchange of ideas and collaboration in Asia and beyond. Thank you, and good afternoon.
Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
In related news, following his remarks at the 10th Asia Summit organized by the Milken Institute in Singapore, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. engaged in an open dialogue with Chief Executive Officers or CEOs through a question and answer session. Founded in 1991, the Milken Institute is a non-profit and non-partisan think tank that focuses on accelerating measurable progress on the path to a meaningful life. It leverages the expertise and insight gained through research and convening of top experts, innovators, and influencers from different backgrounds and competing viewpoints to construct policy initiatives and programs. Here is Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. with former Australian Minister for Trade, Tourism, and Investment Stephen Shobo.
Well, good afternoon, Mr. President. Thank you very much for your remarks. Can I say as moderator that I'm greatly relieved you decided to wait for your suit, because otherwise the pressure would have been on me to, I'm not sure, remove my trousers or something. I'm not sure what I would have had to do to make you feel comfortable, but we appreciate you making the time to be with us today.
Thank you. I'm glad I got that right.
Mr. President, you spoke in your address about a number of issues that I know will have particular resonance with the audience. You spoke about Build Better Tomorrow, a key plank of your agenda. You spoke about the Philippines signing up to the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership through RCEP. Would you share with us, please, your thoughts around what are some of the state of the Philippine economy now post-COVID and how you see things developing in the near term?
Well, as it stands now, I suppose we could draw the line and say post-COVID was around middle or beginning of 22, middle of 22. And since then, we have really come back fairly well in the sense that we have been able to return people to work. And we just posted a 96% employment rate. We still have an underemployment rate that needs attention, but I think that that is a reasonable number to aspire for, considering what it was during the pandemic. Furthermore, we have recognized when I came into office, we recognized immediately that this is not a recovery from back to what we were doing. And when people say, have you recovered? I say, recovered from what? I have no interest to be back in December of 2019. I want to do what's going to happen next, with the recognition that the economy has changed, the way we do business is COVID changed, the recognition that essentially COVID changed everything. And so we have tried to position ourselves, we have tried to adjust. And one of the issues that have come up certainly were supply chains and agricultural production. This was one of the hardest lessons that we had to learn during the pandemic, when suddenly we lost totally the connection between the source of food to the markets. There was no transportation going on, everyone was locked down. We unfortunately had to suffer the longest lockdown aside from China. And so that went on for a good long while. And but this is a lesson that we immediately learned. We said we cannot now continue to depend on importation, which is what has happened for the Philippines. In the past years, it became the easy way out. Just import more rice, import more corn, import more everything. And the pandemic showed us that this was not a wise choice to have made. And so we have continued to develop our agricultural sector. And the aspiration, once again, is that we are able to provide sufficient supply of food at prices that people can afford. And that's still, we are not there yet, but we have made many important steps to start that. We are trying to put the value chain, especially of agriculture, we're trying to put that value chain together from all the way from R&D, all the way to retail, to the market. And that's not, that there are bits and pieces of it that already exist, but they do not work as one system. And that's what we are trying to achieve. And we are slowly making inroads into that problem. And the other side of it was that we looked at the GDP of the Philippines, and it was the contribution of services as against manufacturing was a little lopsided, i.e. 60%, 40%. And so we thought we need to get investment into the system so that we can beef up and build up our manufacturing capabilities. And that is something that will require capital investment. And so this brings us to why we have now come here and have been going around the world to not only to tout what the changes that we have had in the Philippines, but also to ask what is it that you think you need so that the Philippines becomes an investment-friendly place. And the first things that came back were, of course, power. That there has to be our power generation was not sufficient, or was not properly distributed. The prices were high. And the number two problem was the ease of doing business, i.e. the bureaucracy had gone a little bit out of control. And that is something that we immediately have begun to address. And so on the power side, we have also, at the same time, in trying to increase our supply of electricity, have to move the mix of fossil fuels to renewables. And so that's why we continue to court investment in that regard. On the ease of doing business, we have changed many of the rules, we have changed many of the systems. There has been actually amended legislation so that the tax incentives, the tax holidays, the tariffs, etc., the tariff structures have all been changed so that it is easier for our foreign investors to come in and to do business. And underlying all of that is the digital transformation of the bureaucracy, so that ease of doing business is again advantaged once we get it done thoroughly through the entire bureaucratic system.
And so when you spoke about the Build Better, More infrastructure program that you have, and the establishment of the Maralika Fund, which I know the Milken Institute, together with a number of the global organisations, played a role in helping to establish. Could you tell us more about how you see the fund operating and whether or not it's able to, in many respects, I guess, crowd in private capital into some of these investable opportunities in the Philippines? Well,
the investment fund was quite simply another way, because we also started to worry about borrowings. Although our borrowings in terms of as a ratio of GDP are not as high as maybe our neighboring countries. We are standing at about 62.3 up to 63% of GDP. But for us, that is high. And so, although there have been many financing institutions like the ADB, the World Bank, JICA especially, Singapore, Temasek has come in. There has been, these are essentially, some are grants, but mostly they're loans. And that affects that figure for borrowings. So we said we need to invest more. And where can we get funding to invest more without increasing our borrowings? And so we looked internally and saw what are the reserves that we have that are not being, at least in our view, were not being used. I think we all are familiar with the concept that money cannot sit in the bank and do nothing. It must work. And so that's our way of putting it to work, and partnering with private sector partners or even G2G partners, and without a worrisome increase of our borrowings, and with hopefully a sufficient fund. But it will be run as a fund. It is not run by the government. It is run by professional fund managers. And that is one of the main assurances that I had to give. And but that was always the concept behind it. The main assurance that we had to give was that it's not going to, because when the politicians get involved, then the decisions are no longer purely financial in nature. That causes failure, I think, and it doesn't make it an efficient management of the fund. So those are the ways that we see it. This will go into infrastructure, into power development. Again, those main elements like healthcare, all of the areas that we have identified as priorities. So the main to make a list, it's really, for us, it's agriculture, it's energy, it's ease of doing business. It is also the tax structure that we have to transform. I use the word transform. I don't use the word recovery, because we have to transform the economy into something else, not what it was before.
Well, Mr. President, I'm very grateful. Unfortunately, we are cut for time today, but very appreciative of your remarks, your comments, and I certainly know for fund managers, for LPs and GPs in the audience, to know that you're developing an attractive framework to drive more foreign direct investment into the Philippines is going to mean a lot of potential in the future. So thank you very much, and please thank the President for joining us.
Thank you all very much.
And you just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. with former Australian Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment, Stephen Shobo.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, Malacañang issued Executive Order or EO number 40 on Wednesday extending the moratorium on the payment of the principal obligation and interest of the amortization due and payable by agrarian reform beneficiaries or ARBs. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. signed EO 40, which he announced during the Department of Agrarian Reform or DAR's presentation of the Implementing Rules and Regulations or IRR of Republic Act or RA number 11953 or the new Agrarian Emancipation Act. The order tasked the DAR and the Land Bank of the Philippines or LBP to jointly formulate the IRR for the implementation of the order 15 days from its effectivity in accordance with existing general banking laws, the rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, EO number 228, RA number 6657 as amended, RA number 11953 and other relevant laws and issuances. EO number 40 imposed a 1-year moratorium on the payment of the principal obligation and interest of the amortization due and payable by ARBs under the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program or CARP and other agrarian reform programs or laws. Under RA number 11953, individual ARB loans, including interest, penalties, and surcharges were condoned and written off, and ARBs were exempted from the payment of state tax on agrarian reform land secured under the CARP or other agrarian programs which were due and payable by covered ARBs as of the law's effectivity on July 24, 2023. According to Section 2 of RA 11953, there are 346,432 of the total 610,054 ARBs tilling 763,894.66 hectares of agrarian reforms lands whose names and other loan details of indebtedness to the government have yet to be submitted to Congress by the LBP and DAR. DAR said that apart from those whose names and other loan details have yet to be submitted to Congress pursuant to RA number 11953, there are new ARBs who may not be able to avail of the relief provided under the said law because they were not covered by the cut-off date when the law took effect on July 24.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT targets to deploy National Digital Identifications or IDs by the end of the year following President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s instruction to fast-track its issuance after several delays. In a press briefing in Malacañang on Wednesday, DICT Secretary Ivan Uy said that, like the rest of the public, the President has expressed his impatience because of the late issuance of the IDs. Uy met President Marcos Jr. during a sectoral meeting on Tuesday where the DICT provided updates on the implementation of the Digital Philippine ID and other directives from the President. The DICT chief stated the President tasked the DICT a few months ago to figure out how to deploy a national ID without having to wait indefinitely for the plastic ID card, with the agency coming up with a plan to deploy a national digital ID that can be loaded on people's respective mobile phones. The DICT has to exert efforts to make sure that the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA data are not corrupted or incomplete for the digital ID's quick deployment, we said, adding if they could secure a stable DICT PSA link-up system with seamless data migration, the IDs can be deployed soon. Since the PSA is the primary agency tasked under the law to do all the data capturing, the DICT has to access all the data that has been captured so they could be used on mobile platform. Uy said the PSA has so far captured about 80 million identities already stored in its database. The National Digital ID has many uses. The DICT chief mentioned it could be used for the Social Amelioration Package of the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD, for peace, and for the Department of Transportation or DOTR's Fuel Subsidy Program. It will also be helpful, particularly after the June launching of the eGov app, which is a one-stop shop platform for different government services. In the same press briefing, we pointed out the need for additional funds to finance the DICT's effort to track down scammers and cyber criminals. He noted that scammers have become more adept to avoiding detection and arrest, making it difficult for the government to track them down.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, the Philippines is looking at the possibility of increasing the number of its ships patrolling the West Philippine Sea or WPS as part of efforts or options to prevent the swarming of Chinese vessels in the area, according to an official of the National Security Council or NSC. NSC Assistant Director General and NTF WPS spokesperson Jonathan Malaya gave this answer in an interview when asked on what the Philippines could do to deter or prevent the massing of Chinese ships, especially its maritime militia in the WPS. Malaya said the country is also looking at other options but declined to elaborate. He expressed hope that China would reciprocate Philippine calls to reduce tensions and allow the peaceful resupply mission to prevent untoward incidents. Malaya noted that the true colors of China's maritime militia have been revealed. Meanwhile, he said they are studying proposals on whether it would be prudent for government personnel in the security sector to be prohibited from using TikTok. Malaya noted the problems with TikTok arise from the concerns over data surveillance or data collection and its social influence or the ability to manipulate audiences. The government personnel in the security sector refers to personnel of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine National Police, Philippine Coast Guard, and other uniformed personnel such as the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. Also included are personnel of civilian agencies involved in national security such as the NSC and the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency. Malaya added that another issue with TikTok is that the app is possibly under the control of the Chinese government since it is owned by ByteDance, which is the Chinese technology owned entirely by China, and under Chinese law, any Chinese company has to cooperate with the Chinese Communist Party for whatever reason.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine Department of Trade and Industry or DTI Secretary Alfredo Pascual is confident that the Board of Investments or BOI will hit and even surpass its 2023 investment approvals target of 1.5 trillion pesos. In an interview, Pascual, who is the concurrent BOI chairman, said the Investment Promotion Agency has investment projects in the pipeline, some of which are from past foreign trips of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and the outbound investment missions of DTI. The trade chief did not disclose the number of projects and its total value, but said the country has around $71 billion worth of investment prospects coming from their outbound trip that could be implemented between now and the next 5 years. Pascual added that BOI has greenlighted some 800 billion pesos worth of projects to date. The BOI initially set a 1 trillion peso investment approvals target for 2023, but Pascual hiked the target by 50% after the government during Marcos's past official foreign visits received interest from investors expressing their intent to do business in the Philippines. In 2022, the BOI approved some 720 billion pesos worth of projects.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that concludes today's edition of Dateline Malacañang. Don't forget to follow the social media accounts or pages of Radyo Pilipinas World Service for important news updates. This has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.